Kevin Federline, old K-Fed, is considered by many people as only being famous because of his 2-year marriage to Britney Spears, but his Wikipedia intro suggests that there's more to him than that. He's listed as a rapper, a DJ, an actor, television personality, professional wrestler, and fashion model, which are all technically correct.
The best kind of correct.
However, his modelling and DJing appear to be pretty minimal, whilst his acting has been more or less just cameos, as well as a 3-episode stint on One Tree Hill where he played Jason J. Federline. So a 3-episode cameo, basically, I guess. He did manage to defeat the one and only John Cena in the ring. Well, he pinned him after he'd already been knocked out, but he's little more than a footnote in WWE history, I would think. And as you could probably guess, things didn't go too well for him as a rapper either, with his only studio album, Playing with Fire, getting on Wikipedia's list of music considered the worst. Welcome back to the series that reviews that list that I just mentioned, Wiki's worst albums. The world was first made aware of K-Fed's musical efforts in 2005, with a leak of his first song called Y'all Ain't Ready, where Fed appears to use the wrong word for paparazzi.
Until then, all these paparazzis following me.
Then comes out with this incredible line.
Back then, they call me K-Fed, but you call me Daddy instead.
I'd rather die.
The leak was 52 seconds long, and that's all that appears to exist of the song online now. Ass! So ultimately, he was the one that wasn't ready to release the full song, that is. Fed's first song released in full was Popo Zao, an ode to Brazilian booty. Mixing lines in both English and Portuguese, the title translates into English as big... Okay, something's not right here.
I wanna see some Popo Zao!
The instrumental on Popo Zao sounds a great deal more professional than Y'all Ain't Ready. Dare I say, this could have turned into a hit if the right artist made something over the top of it. But Kevin is not the right artist. The song gives me some LMFAO vibes, but LMFAO could surely write lyrics that are far less clunky than these. Plus, the song is over 3 minutes long, but after delivering his one verse within the first minute, the rest of it is just Kev repeating earlier lines. Despite being quite proud of this work, if this video is anything to go by,
Fire!
Popo Zao also did not appear on Playing with Fire. Instead, the lead single from the album was Lose Control, co-written and produced by J.R. Rotem. If you don't know who that is, then there's a good chance you've heard his production tag before.
What did she say?
It's like my eyeballs stuck on replay.
And before he teamed up with K-Fed, he'd already worked on worldwide #1 hits for Rihanna and Sean Kingston. So Kevin clearly had the backing of writers and producers that knew how to do their job. But it's probably safe to say that they weren't writing the lyrics. But I'm pretty sure that using a ghostwriter is one of the most unforgivable things a rapper can do. And it's not hard at all to believe that Federline came up with these words himself, because it's all about how fucking great he is for, I guess, being rich, driving expensive cars, and being married to Britney. Not exactly going to silence those people claiming he's only famous because he married someone famous, is it? Fed debuted Lose Control at the 2006 Teen Choice Awards, and Playing with Fire was released a month later. In its first week of sales, it sold a whopping 6,000 copies. And on the album's promotional tour, he ended up giving away tickets for free before the remainder of the tour was apparently cancelled due to lack of interest. You'd expect at least a bit more of a turnout than that, considering how much of a star he insisted he was and how the Pavarottis were hassling him. Well, in fairness, he did finally use the correct word on the album. And his appearances on WWE Raw, 7 episodes to be exact, were supposed to act as promotion for the album too. But according to WWE legend Mick Foley, while he actually garnered quite a bit of respect backstage for his hard work, he didn't see much respect coming from the fans.
That's Kevin Federline, Britney Spears' husband!
The biggest badge of dishonor that Playing with Fire wears from a critical standpoint is a rating of 15 out of 100 on the review aggregator site Metacritic, which makes it the lowest rated album listed on the site. The second lowest rated album on there by the Bloodhound Gang has almost double its score. And according to Metacritic, the most positive review was from Billboard, listing a line of very high praise from that review. In general, Federline enunciates... that's ironic, eh? In general, Federline enunciates well. Keep in mind as I critique the rest of this album that this is coming from someone that's never particularly cared for hip-hop. I don't hate its mere existence, just rarely get much enjoyment from listening to it. especially the more pop rap stuff. So I'm probably one of the least qualified people to talk about its qualities. But I feel like the production on here is at least competent. Not overly memorable, but certainly never annoying. While some of it hasn't aged as well as the rest, it doesn't sound like it would have been massively dated at the time. And Fed has a very limited range when it comes to delivering his lines, but that alone isn't enough to make my ears bleed. It's the lyrics that are undoubtedly Playing with Fire's greatest downfall. Like on Lose Control, K-Fed spends the bulk of his time rapping about how sick he is and all the rich person things that he does. Meanwhile, the album's intro features a bunch of fake newsreader clips that frame him in a bad light and suggests that he's not as great as he claims he is.
Does the Fresno, California native really have what it takes to be a successful rapper?
In other recent news, Federline has been criticized for being a poor father.
And then there's the sound of, I think, someone unsheathing some swords. I don't even know. So another reoccurring theme on this album is the haters and how much better than them Fed is. But he also often whines about how everyone doesn't take him seriously enough. Well, if you were so caught up on that, Kev, then maybe you should have addressed what they were hating you for instead of spending most of your time flexing and telling us that you're the shit without giving us any reasons why. And if you want to convince people that you are largely responsible for your own success, maybe it's not the best idea to have a song on there called Privilege. He probably could have turned things against them if he rapped about some of the more serious struggles that he'd gone through in his life. But despite all the drug references and general macho posturing, K-Fed doesn't appear to have any sort of known criminal history. So maybe he genuinely didn't have that much meaningful struggle to draw from. The slightest hint of emotion comes through on the songs Crazy, featuring Spears, and Caught Up, which are both centered around the turbulence surrounding their relationship and how Fed will still be ride or die in spite of it. Spears filed for divorce the week after the album's release. I'll start to wrap things up now because if I wanted to point out flaws in the lyrics of this album, the video would probably be at least half an hour long. He claimed on the album that he was America's most hated, but K-Feta Cheese perhaps didn't quite have the level of notoriety, and definitely not the level of street cred, to turn that into some decent album sales like 6ix9ine has done more recently. Also, you can't convincingly pull off the 6ix9ine act if you're constantly preoccupied with what all your haters are thinking of you, because 6ix9ine does not give a bloody fuck about that.
You're mad, I'm back.
However, while he hasn't come out with another full album since Playing with Fire, he hasn't completely abandoned the music industry, because since then that's when he started doing his DJing and production work. But he even did a couple of guest verses for other people, and even released another very well-received song in 2016, where he has top billing, though there's more of the featured artist on it than there is of him. He's going to have to step up his game if he wants to stop people spamming him with tweets about being a gold digger and living off of Britney's child support payments, so my final verdict, like Duran Duran's Thank You, I get basically nothing out of listening to Playing with Fire. I got more out of Thank You really, since I'm less wired towards hip-hop in general. So with that, and the added eye-rolling brought on by Kev's lyrical genius, I'd rate it higher on my bad album scale list, but not much higher since it's mainly non-musical elements that bring it down. I give it a 4.5. Kev, I'd recommend keeping your head down and focusing on taking care of your children from now on. After all, you've got 6 of them, and when even your first partner, who you left while she was pregnant with your second child, is still complimenting your parenting skills, then perhaps it's one of the rare things that you're relatively good at. So thanks for joining me on this episode of Wiki's Worst Albums, and I'll see you around.
In Portuguese, it means burn your ass on the floor and move real fast. I wanna see a kitty and a little bit of kitty. Wanna know where I go when I'm in your city. Girl, that you whip about all the dough. Cause the cat is coming straight out of the know. Pretty rock them shows all the way to Rio.